I once had 5 dreams. One was the land of extreme ice. The Ice Sky Snow Girl, the second is the Flower Immortal Clan. Starry Jade Glass, the third is the Abyssal Sea area. The Abyssal Sea Dragon Ningxue. From the first time the Emperor saw that girl, I knew that I had fallen in love with that stunning girl with long, icy white hair. She was like a princess in a castle, so noble and cold. Lick the dog. No, how could the girlfriend who got it be a licking dog? That's clearly a two-way trip. Looking at the southwest of China, the top of Mount Everest is home to ice and snow giants. Below, there is a mysterious and powerful totem bird that can defend a city with its own strength without worries, named Xingluan. Looking back at the land of Sichuan and Sichuan, where there are world-renowned iron-eating beasts, are they ferocious and cruel demons, or cute and silly dumplings? The story of a full-time mage is endless, but it belongs to Lan Muken. Keywords of the novel. Full-time mage's wife Ningxue. No pop-ups. Full-time mage's wife Ningxue TXT complete collection download. Full-time mage's wife Ningxue latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Master and Apprentice and Natural Summoning. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Master and Apprentice and Natural Summoning. As night falls, darkness engulfs everything like a tide, leaving only a faint glow on the bright moon in the sky. At first glance, everything is dark, and the pitch-black world is like the heart of Lan Muken. There was a slight tremble in his arms, and the snow-white little one was soft and cold. It was the snowball-like creature wriggling that made Lan Muken's rising desire for survival overcome his fear of darkness and the unknown. The child named Lan Muken ran with all his might. He wanted to survive, become a wizard, and see the world outside the orphanage with the little one who grew up with him. He didn't know if there were any human traffickers chasing him, so he didn't dare to stop and could only keep running. Breathing heavily in his mouth, the darkness in Lan Muken's eyes blurred in a daze, and his footsteps became heavier. His speed slowed down, but he didn't dare to stop. How can a child who is only 7 or 8 years old run so hard, and how far can they go? Lan Muken's body became increasingly heavy, and the steps he took swayed left and right. Gradually, he couldn't distinguish the direction and could only move forward aimlessly. As for whether it was forward, he was also unclear. Accompanied by a lifetime of intense coughing, Lan Muken's body fell to the ground, and the cute little snowball in his arms rolled out uncontrollably, leaving a brilliant string of ice crystals on the cold ground. The pain and weakness did not make Lan Muken give up. He struggled to hold up his upper body and wanted to move forward, as if wanting to hold the small snowball back in his arms. He felt his body becoming increasingly uncomfortable, as if he was about to die. In a hazy moment, Lan Muken seemed to see a figure who bent down to pick up a snowball the size of 2 fists and slowly walked towards him. Because it was too dark and tired, he couldn't see the suspicion on his face clearly. "Child, are you willing to learn magic with me?" The old man spoke kindly, holding a small snowball in his left hand, unable to break free from its seemingly powerless arm no matter how hard it struggled. The right hand extends to the child who wants to support the upper body. Lan Muken looked up, his consciousness gradually becoming blurred, and a double shadow appeared on his palm, which was close to him. His slowly growing tender little hand had not yet touched the person's fingertips, so he fell to the ground with black eyes. And the soft little snowball seemed to be able to change its shape at will, desperately squeezing out its powerful embrace. It bounced twice on Lan Muken's body, and a few crystal-clear tears slid out of a pair of round deep blue dreamy big eyes. Time passed by unintentionally, and in a blink of an eye, Lan Muken had been taken in by his master for over 7 years, which accounted for half of his life to this day. The new year has just passed, and my master is rarely idle at home. After waking up early and having breakfast, Lan Muken brewed a pot of high-quality tea for his master. The once short and frail child has grown very delicate, with a hint of high coldness in his dark pupils. I used to live in an orphanage, although I could barely wrap my belly, I was definitely thinner and weaker than ordinary children. After being taken in by his master, he had no worries about food and clothing and lived in a big house in the city. Lan Mukin had already become a handsome young man. Master, Lan Mukin respectfully handed Pang Lai a cup of hot tea. Pang Lai, whose hair was white, took the tea and savored it carefully, saying, "Xiao Mukin, you won't offer me tea if you have nothing to do. Tell me what." The teacher and father can see through the hidden thoughts of the disciple at a glance. "Master, I want to awaken magic," said Lan Mukin bluntly. Lan Mukin is 15 years old this year, and the appropriate age for awakening magic is exactly 15 or 16 years old. It's just that he hasn't celebrated his 15th birthday yet, isn't it a bit early? Pang Lai's sharp eyes fixed on his disciple, and his massive spiritual head penetrated into his spiritual world. The spiritual world of Lan Mukin is pitch black, and a mysterious speck of moon-white stardust is shining brightly. Pang Lai quickly withdrew after taking a glance. Your summoning type stardust has matured and your spiritual power is sufficient to awaken magic. However, it is unknown whether other types will awaken. You are also aware of your situation, and it is estimated that the world will not find a second person like you. Pang Lai patiently said. Subsequently, Pang Lai went to prepare the awakening stone for his disciple. He was curious whether a person born with a magic system could still awaken. The summoning system of Lan Mukin is innate and has existed since birth. It was just that the moon-white dust was very small before, and by the age of 7, Lan Mukin's dust had hardly grown. It was not until he was taken in by Pang Lai and his life improved that the small and faint dust developed together with his growth. Until now, at the age of awakening magic, the summoning star dust is finally no different from normal star dust. When Lan Mukin appeared in the living room again, he held a snowball with a snow-white and slightly icy texture in his arms. Little Snowball's big ice blue eyes were not to mention how cute they were. Little Snowball is a product of his innate summoning system, just like the summoning stardust that grew and developed with him. He has always followed Lan Mukin. Xueer, I'm about to awaken magic. Are you happy with the crow? Lan Mukin gently stroked the icy soft snowball, with a bright smile on her cheeks. Xueer moaned joyfully, he could clearly feel the joy of the master. Compared to before, Xueer grew a few laps larger and more plump, with mysterious and cold hidden deep blue ice patterns on the snow-white circle. If an ordinary person does not observe carefully, they may actually see it as a snowball. Xueer's body was icy cold and very soft, and Lan Mukin had long been accustomed to this icy cold with him. In summer, Xueer is his exclusive soft cooling small air conditioner. Lan Mukin has not been a child who is afraid of the cold since childhood. Just like now, it goes without saying how cold the spring festival in the Imperial capital is. He wears thin clothes and often sticks with Xueer. Cold. Not present. He had a vague premonition that he would awaken ice magic. While Lan Mukin was playing with Xueer, Master Pang Lai had already brought Awakening Stone back. Awakening stones are generally controlled by magic associations or aristocratic families, and most people simply cannot obtain them. It's not surprising that Master found Awakening Stone Blue Mukin so quickly. Perhaps he didn't understand it when he was a child, but in recent years of studying magic, he has already understood Master's reputation and status. The Chief Palace Mage, the first summoning mage in China, with an immeasurable strength. It is roughly similar to the mysterious old man following the protagonist in the novel. Therefore, the palace is the most authoritative group of mages in China, and being able to enter is enough to prove its extraordinary qualities. The level of the chief among them can be imagined. The title of the first summoner of the Hua Kingdom directly expresses Pang Lai's hard power. Without strong strength, who would convince you to be the first? A small awakening stone would be a loss of status for someone like Pang Lai to personally retrieve. If it weren't for the disciples who grew up with them, they wouldn't have received such treatment. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Awakening to the Ice Series. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2 Awakening Ice Series. Pang Lai placed the star compass-shaped awakening stone on the table, indicating that the disciple could start. Lan Mukin placed Xueer on the table and adjusted her state to the best. When it comes to nervousness, there really isn't. The spiritual world has always had summoning stardust, which makes him not as eager to awaken as other high school students. If he had not awakened other genres, he could still practice summoning genres. Lan Mukin pressed his hand on the obvious palm print on the awakening stone, and closed his eyes. His consciousness sank into the spiritual world. The pitch-black spiritual world, with tiny moon-white stardust quietly emitting light in the corner, seems to have fish wandering freely, only to see up close that it is a summoning star. The starlight rising from the awakening stone is beautiful and splendid, and those radiances slowly climb up to Lan Mukin's right hand, interweaving countless star marks like special blood vessels and veins. Pang Lai appeared to stand there casually, feeling at ease, but in reality, his mind was entirely in the spiritual world of his disciple. If anything unexpected happened, he would immediately interrupt this awakening. It's not a big deal to awaken the summoning system to the middle level, at least not to damage the body or spiritual world. A special force smoothly entered the spiritual world from Lan Mukin's right hand. With the guidance of a special force, a small void not far from the summoning star dust suddenly lit up. The cold, icy blue, starry dust, and Blue Mu Chen naturally recognize it as an ice system. Creak 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 creak. Fortunately, the accident did not occur. A cold breath sealed the awakening stone and spread towards the table. It wasn't until the entire desktop was covered with thin ice crystals that Lan Mukin opened his eyes. Xueer loves this icy cold atmosphere very much, jumping excitedly on the ice surface, and her big deep blue eyes are not to mention how cute they are. A very pure ice system, perhaps this is one of the reasons why he chose you, Pang Lai said, his eyes scanning over the cheerful Xueer, a hint of approval hidden in his eyes. Very well. Lan Mukin withdrew his hand and picked up Xueer, causing the ice and dust on the table to dissipate automatically. Thank you, Master. No need to be polite, I happen to have this on hand. You can take it and use it. Pang Lai looked at his disciple with satisfaction and pulled out a crystal-clear dust stone from somewhere. The dust and stone turned azure, and one could easily recognize that it was not an ordinary thing. Lan Mukin showed surprise. It was a stardust magic weapon. Although it's the first time I've seen it, at least I've learned magic for many years, and I still have this insight. Pang Lai continued, take it and give you the stardust magic tool. I hope you can work harder. In a few months, I will check the results. Thank you, Master. Lan Mukin took the azure dust stone from Master's hand and bowed respectfully to him. Master said it happened, how could he not know that it was specially prepared for him? Since taking him in, his master has always treated him well, no worse than his own children and grandchildren. Lan Mukin remembers in his heart that he also genuinely treated Pang Lai as an elder. Lan Mukin is not good at expressing his inner feelings, but he often makes actions that warm Pang Lai's heart. I have taught you the most basic cultivation before. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, Pang Lai said seriously. Lan Mukin nodded like a well-behaved child. Just a few days after the Chinese New Year, there were colorful lanterns, red lanterns, new couplets, and sometimes firecrackers made of fire magic stones set off outside, which was quite festive. But it was during the Chinese New Year that Pang Lai went out to work again, leaving only Lan Mukin to guard the big house at home. He is such a busy person that he really can't spare time. Lan Mukin hung up the stardust magic tool and returned to his room, sitting cross-legged on the bed, his consciousness entering the spiritual world. The release of magic is divided into 3 steps. Meditation, control, and release. Meditation is the process of concentrating and contemplating, where different scenes emerge in a person's mind, and after awakening, corresponding stardust appears in the ethereal spiritual world. Closing your eyes allows you to quickly see the stars and dust in the void, as well as the sparkling stars within, and completing meditation is considered complete. Lan Muken has been summoning stardust since childhood, and Ningxue has learned it a long time ago. You can skip this step and directly contact the controller. In the world of nothingness, there are two pieces of dust in the darkness, one is mysterious and profound in moonlight white, and the other is cold and pure in ice blue. Previously, due to insufficient spiritual power, the summoning star dust had not yet matured and his master had not taught or allowed him to practice. Now, he can finally control the star child. Lan Muken was the first to flip over the summoning cards and dive into the moonlight and stardust. Without him needing to search, the 7 obedient stars gathered together like imperial concubines, quietly hovering in front of Lan Muken, seemingly waiting for the emperor's mercy. Now Lan Muken can't handle it anymore. Isn't it true that the newly awakened person Xingzi is very lively and doesn't listen to his master at all? The difficulty in controlling the star child lies in the star child's disobedience. If the star child is obedient like a maid waiting for the master's love, then you can try to link the star path. Control is to control the stars to a specific position, and 7 stars can form a path of stars, and magic will naturally appear. You come over. Lan Muken controlled a star to its predetermined position, and as expected, the moon-white star quickly arrived like an obedient daughter. Law. The following stars are also like this, competing to move according to Lan Muken's idea. A hazy moonlight and stardust trajectory connected, and Lan Muken could clearly feel the special power gathering around him. He opened his eyes and saw a small dimensional summoning crack in front of his chest, from which the white and tender snowball rolled out. That pair of deep blue big eyes stared at the owner in surprise. Finally, you can freely summon me now. What else can a white snowball be if it's not snow? Lan Muken affectionately picked up his own Xueer and gently caressed her, saying, Xueer is indeed my dimensional summoner. Unlike other summoning systems, the first-level summoning system fights by controlling summoning beasts from summoning planes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 With the connection of the stars, the orbit appeared as a dimensional crack, and Lan Muken sent Xueer back to the summoning plane. Opening the summoning door twice consumed about half of the summoning magic energy. After trying again, Xueer came out and looked at her master with dissatisfaction, emitting a tender moan. Regardless of what Lan Muken said, Xueer returned to the summoning plane on her own. Lan Muken couldn't help but smile. Since he could already control the summoning star, the ice type, as soon as they entered the desolate icy dust, the 7 highly cold stars quickly drifted away, swaying like 7 brilliant streams of light in the icy blue dust. Lan Muken is speechless. Why is the gap so big? He is the master in the summoning star dust and can freely control the stars inside. The stars are also very obedient. And inside the icy stardust, he looks like a tumor. Sticking on it will cause illness, and there are no stars willing to approach him. 2 pieces of stardust, completely different treatment. Sure enough, the summoning type is biological, and the ice type is the normal situation for beginners to control the stars. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Dreamless Snowfield. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Dreams. Boundless Snowfield. No matter how unpopular you are, you must practice control. To successfully release magic, controlling the stars is an unavoidable problem. Generally, high school students need to spend a year to control all 7 stars. Next, Lan Muken began to chase after the seemingly cold but fast-moving icy stars. And out of sight, the deep blue ancient ice feathers hanging on the chest quietly emitted a faint blue light. In the blue light, there seems to be ice-white phoenix fluttering, and the intricate ancient texts carved on the ice feathers also appear slightly. The sky was dim, and Lan Muken's mind was dizzy as he withdrew from his spiritual world, with everything in his eyes being blurred. Shaking his head, he took out the stardust magic tool and the ice-blue bird feather from his chest. Lan Muken exclaimed, "The stardust magic tool given by Master has a better effect than the spirit level one. Not only has the meditation time been extended by 50%, but the duration of controlling the Star Child has also increased. Glancing at the darkness outside the window and then scanning his phone towards dawn, Lan Mukin collapsed into a soft bed in a daze. The deep blue bird feathers hanging on its chest freely shine on the crystal clear ice in the pitch black. From the afternoon until late at night, the high-intensity mental focus led Lan Mukin to feel exhausted both physically and mentally. Due to exhaustion, he fell asleep shortly after. With a hazy consciousness, I opened my eyes and reached out to gently blur them. Gradually, the azure sky became clear, and the dreamy sun hung high on the horizon. Lan Mukin pressed his hand onto the white snow on the ground, and without any resistance, his palms sank into the fluffy and flawless white. It was not as cold as he had imagined, but slightly cooler. My hands didn't sink very deep, but I could clearly feel that the snow was not just this thickness. Standing up quietly, looking around, there was nothing else but the white snow. The holy and boundless snow scenery is presented in the eyes of Lan Mukin, and the pure snow far surpasses any landscape he has visited in recent years. But such a scene did not cause even a slight ripple in his heart. Lan Mukin turned around in place to observe further, and large patches of silver appeared in his eyes. No matter how good his eyesight was, he couldn't see far. As far as my eyes can see, everything is snow-white. Everything was so calm and strange, the environment here was not right, and Lan Mukin himself was also not right. Snow has no boundaries, no impurities, while Lan Mukin appears slightly dull. Looking up at the sun hanging high in the azure sky, although it was scorching like fire, it was not dazzling at all, and even the light was so false. The silver-white snow in the farthest distance connects with the azure sky, white and blue, and the earth connects to the sky. Lan Mukin didn't know where this was or why it appeared here. After much consideration, he finally took the first step. The fluffy snow made a crisp creaking sound, drowning half of Lan Mukin's foot. No matter which direction it is, there is always white snow, and the sun is always hanging high in the center of the azure sky. Lan Mukin cannot judge the direction at all, and he doesn't know why he will move forward all the way. A series of tread marks of equal depth and size are left in the endless white snow. The young man walked forward aimlessly as if tirelessly, a delicate and beautiful snowflake falling from somewhere on Lan Mukin's cheek. The transparent snowflakes instantly melted, like the fake snow below, without any coldness, and even the refreshing moment of blue Mukin made it a bit comfortable. Being in such a snowy scene, not to mention being cold, Lan Mukin didn't even take a breath. That small snowflake was just the beginning, and its appearance seemed to open the door to the dimension of snow in this world. The snow grew heavier and heavier, and in an instant, snowflakes as big as goose feathers splashed freely on Lan Mukin's body. Lan Mukin's heat was not enough to melt all the snowflakes, and gradually, the snow began to accumulate on him. He didn't use his hands to wipe away the ice and snow from his hair, cheeks, nose, and other parts, allowing them to invade his body. I just moved forward steadfastly. Just like a dull robot running according to a predetermined program. I don't know how long the snow had stopped, but the flawless snow coat that Lan Mukin was wearing had not yet dissipated. From a distance, he almost merged with the white snow. Suddenly, other colors appeared within the reach of Lan Mukin's eyes, which were deep blue like deep pools in the deep sea. This stunning deep blue is as small as ants in the deep blue and snow. White, but it stands out like a bright light in the dark night. Lan Mukin didn't make too many movements, just walked quietly as before. As time passed, the strange color between snow-white and deep blue continued to magnify, until Lan Mukin could see clearly that it was a human figure. The deep blue figure gradually progressed, and Lan Mukin could even see clearly that it was a woman, but everything seemed so unreal. Stepping out again, he wanted to catch up with the next step, but his legs seemed to be filled with lead and couldn't move at all. It could also be that the snow was holding on to his footsteps. Neither foot can lift up. Not just the feet, every part of the body cannot move a single bit, except for the deep and agile black eyes that show a little bit of agility. I thought that if the action was sealed off, the strange colors in pure white would not approach, but I didn't expect the woman wearing a deep blue dress to approach at a faster speed. The tiny, dusty figure slowly magnified in those moving eyes. The closer he got, the clearer Lan Muken saw. The striking color in the sky, blue, and white turned out to be the extremely ice-long dress that wrapped around the graceful figure of the woman. She did not come from stepping on the snow. The woman hung high in the air, dragging an extremely long and dazzling ice skirt. The huge skirt hem was like a deep-sea pool, desolate and beautiful, in sharp contrast to her graceful and delicate body. Yes, if it weren't for this large and exaggerated skirt, so far away, it was still full of snow-white scenery. How could Lan Muken see deep blue from a distance? The woman in blue seemed to have an illusory ladder under her feet that led straight to Lan Muken's place. She stepped down step by step with her slender and stunning jade legs. With her white and flowery legs, even Lan Muken, who was a bit sluggish, couldn't help but lose his composure in such a snowy landscape. The vast deep blue skirt hem, resembling a cold pool, scattered on the invisible steps, directly through a large and beautiful deep blue staircase behind the woman, and the crystal-clear snowflakes and ice crystals embellished on the skirt hem undoubtedly became the most beautiful decoration on the stairs. It looks a bit strange because it seems like the deep blue staircase only appeared after the woman walked past. And further away, in the snowy plain, as the woman stepped down the empty stairs step by step, astonishing snow pillars like peaks rose from the ground, soaring straight into the clouds. The pure and flawless snow pillar rushed straight into the equally flawless azure sky. The false scorching sun was obscured, but it did not affect the brightness of this place. It seemed that it was not the sun that emitted light here, but the snow that could not be seen from the edge. The stairs have been completed, and the woman's jade-like snow feet are stepping on the soft white snow, as if walking on the road, leaving no traces. And behind her was a huge skirt, half of which lay on the snow, and more had not yet slid down the invisible steps. She is approaching Lan Muken step by step. Why is it so certain that her goal is Lan Muken instead of passing by? Because, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. Mysterious Woman, Awakening from a Dream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Mysterious Woman, Awakening from a Dream. Because her eyes were staring at Lan Muken and she was very focused. That were a pair of deep blue and beautiful eyes like her skirt, vast as the ocean, calm and mysterious. These eyes are familiar to Lan Muken, and he has often looked at them since he was young. In the cold and indifferent deep blue beautiful eyes like a cold pond, there is still a flawless and exquisite ice crystal. Who else could it be if it weren't his little Xueer? However, those beautiful indescribable eyes, with an endless cold like eternal ice, did not feel cold in such a snowy scene, and did not feel cold for a long time walking against the heavy snow. However, in these eyes, they saw the cold. Cold shivers, but Lan Muken still cannot move a single bit. Lan Muken could clearly see that every part of her features were perfect to the extreme, but she couldn't organize this stunning beauty together. I don't know if it's deliberately using a special method to cover up or if there's no specific appearance. Her lips were devoid of any blood, as white and flawless as the snowfield here, pure and sexy. Her flawless hair, almost touching the ground, is composed of pure white snow and deep blue ice. The scattered ice crystals and snowflakes on it are the finishing touch, as beautiful as a fairy painting. She looked at Lan Muken quietly, and Lan Muken also looked at her. Women can move, while Lan Muken's movements are limited. Only those deep black eyes kept spinning. I don't know what they were looking at. The woman's lips lightly parted, and her fairy voice babbled a lot, pleasing to the ear but unable to understand a single sentence. Like a snowstorm pouncing on him, babbling softly. A large amount of light chants merged into Lan Muken's ears and spread to his mind, transforming into a few words. Welcome home. The ice and snow woman took a step forward, her tall and slender figure much higher than Lan Mukin's. With this step forward, the massive surge beneath the ice and snow clothing interwoven with deep blue polar ice and snow-white ice almost touched Lan Mukin's collarbone. A strange and unique fragrance penetrated into his breath, making Lan Mukin's dull expression clearer. Even within reach, Lan Mukin couldn't see her true face clearly. A pair of slender white and tender jade arms leaned forward, and the woman gently embraced Lan Mukin's shoulders. The white jade-pink lips slowly landed on his forehead, soft and silky, icy and cool. The mysterious power penetrated into Lan Mukin's spiritual world with the woman's gentle kiss. For a long time, the pink lips left Lan Mukin's forehead, and while moving, they accidentally touched Lan Mukin's body without causing any other waves. The woman took 2 steps back and respectfully bowed. The deep blue and gorgeous ice dress moved with her, and her surging figure trembled slightly. Suddenly, the flawless snow pillar that connected the sky and the ground collapsed with a loud bang, and the figure of the woman disappeared completely. Even the vast deep blue ice skirt hem left without a trace, as if it had never come before. Only Lan Mukin's forehead still holds a faint fragrance and invisible warmth. The collapse of the snow pillar caused a tremendous force, and for a moment, the sky and the earth split, causing the snowy river to pour down like a white torrent. Like an avalanche, but countless times more terrifying than an avalanche. The blue sky was covered by white snow, and Lan Mukin's eyes were all snow-white. He didn't know if he could move now, he just stood there expressionless, without any movement. A waterfall like snow surged down from the sky, as if a sky had collapsed. It was scattered in all directions, except for a white torrent. They were like fierce beasts, mercilessly devouring everything along the way. Seems like besides snow, it's still snow. In this world, it seems that only Lan Mukin is an outsider, because except for him, all other places are snow-white. Without any movement, Lan Mukin was engulfed by the merciless sea of ice and snow. He had no resistance, and in such a natural disaster, everything was meaningless. The white torrent swept around him, not knowing where it was flowing. And Lan Mukin's mind was still full of the woman in the deep blue dress. The mysterious woman left an unforgettable deep impression on Lan Mukin. Even if he wakes up from a dream, Lan Mukin will remember. That's right, Lan Mukin knew it was a dream, just as the kiss of the icy woman landed on his forehead. The morning light shone through the gaps between the windows and curtains in Lan Mukin's room. The young man murmured and propped himself up, while the soft bedding under his hands was cold and hard. That hint of coolness instantly awakened Lan Mukin. He widened his eyes in surprise and looked at the small house covered in ice and frost in disbelief. If it weren't for those familiar objects, he couldn't believe it was his room. Except for under Lan Mukin's body, the entire room was covered with a layer of crystal-clear thin ice, and the morning light reflected a strange brilliance on the ice surface. "Did I use ice magic last night?" murmured Lan Mukin. Even without clothes on, he didn't feel too cold in such an environment. Suddenly, Lan Mukin felt something was amiss between Kachatsi and his younger brother. He hurriedly lifted the bed to check. Teenagers, everyone knows what they know, and everyone has it before. No, it only indicates abnormality. It is recommended to go to the hospital for examination. I seem to have dreamt of a dreamy woman last night, but even though nothing happened, why did it happen? And there were a lot. Lan Mukin couldn't figure it out. Regardless of the frost in the room, I dug out a clean bitter tea and rushed into the bathroom. When taking a shower, close your eyes and imagine a tall woman with long blue and white hair kissing your forehead. Yes, that's where the problem lies. The woman's eyes and soft moans were very similar to Xueer's, able to convey the 4 words, "Welcome home," to his mind and make him truly feel that it was a dream, which had to make Lan Mukin doubt it. He may be dreaming of the spring snow. Lan Mukin quickly shook his head to dispel this thought. Xueer was just a snowball. How could you think so? In my mind are the ice and snow woman and Xueer, a tall and sexy beauty, and a cute and silly little snowball. No matter how I think, they can't be equally good. But when those two pairs of dark blue eyes like pools coincide, they are not the same at all, they are the same. I heard that some undead mages have a special fondness for corpses and undead creatures, and some special summoning mages also have a special fondness for summoning beasts and contract beasts. Lon Mukin, does not Lon Mukin couldn't help but shudder at the thought of those terrifying undead and ferocious demons. Putting on a handsome outfit, Lon Mukin returned to the room, everything was as before. The crystal clear thin ice had melted away, and there were still some water stains in some places, which would soon evaporate. Yesterday afternoon, while practicing magic, he forgot to eat. So far, he hasn't eaten anything for almost 20 hours and is a group of hungry people. Just after the new year, and not wanting to order takeout, Lon Mukin put on his battle clothes and walked into the kitchen. Lao Panglai rarely goes home and doesn't cook even when he does, so Lon Mukin has developed a strong culinary skills. Who said only fire mages can be good chefs? I am Lon Mukin. Summoning and ice, and cooking is also quite delicious. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Ice and Snow Girl Xueer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Ice and Snow Girl. Xueer. There are no shortcuts along the way of magic, and one can only rely on their own efforts to cultivate. After breakfast, Lon Mukin took Xueer for a walk outside, and when he returned home, he went to read books and knowledge about magic. He left the meditation and control star in the afternoon and evening. After entering the cooldown during the midnight cultivation period, you will have a beautiful sleep. The dream that day was very strange, but it couldn't be said to be anything strange, after all, no matter how strange it was just a dream. Afterwards, Lon Mukin never dreamed of an endless snowfield, nor did he dream of the woman wearing a gorgeous and luxurious ice dress. His life is very regular. He learns knowledge in the morning, meditates in the afternoon, and takes Xueer out for a walk in his leisure time. Because he did not attend the magic high school system or junior high school, he studied magic exceptionally hard. Due to the summoning system already being able to release magic, Lon Mukin focused his energy on the ice system and only spent some time warming up the summoning system every day to prevent it from becoming rusty and degenerate. With the nourishment of summoning magic, Xueer's growth became even faster. His deep blue eyes became more vivid and divine, and the hidden ice patterns under the snow-white became deeper. His ability to control ice also became stronger. According to the teacher's father Panglai, Xueer is already a qualified servant-level demon. If the ice power is fully activated, she can easily freeze to death the mage Lon Mukin, who cannot release ice magic yet. One day, Lon Mukin's 7 ice stars finally obediently connected into a cold and proud star track, and the power of the cold ice reached his arm through the stardust. With the icy light shining on his hands, the cold air was generous. He aimed at the desk, and Lon Mukin passed by with an ice vine. Frost quickly crawled over the poor desk from the bedside. The cold air filled the entire room, the ground was frozen, and even the windows were covered in frost. Subsequently, a more proficient star orbit was connected, and a snowball the size of a basketball floated out of the moonlight cracks. Compared to the unfamiliar icy orbit, the summoning orbit of Lon Mukin is almost at a speed of 1 second. This is all thanks to the obedient summoning stars, who are always obedient to Lon Mukin and never resist. The young man hugged the large and soft snowball and ravaged it fiercely, saying, "Xueer, my ice magic has finally been completed." Yeah, Xueer exclaimed happily, lightly rubbing her cheeks against the owner's chest. "Be good, let's get rid of the frost." Lon Mukin pointed to the desk that was frozen by the frost and called Xueer. Xueer leaped to the surface covered by frost, and a faint deep blue ice pattern appeared on her snow-white body. In an instant, under his control, the frost dissipated completely. Xueer jumped back into Lon Mukin's arms, as if saying, "Look, I give you a desk that is as intact as before." It's a bit inconvenient for Lon Mukin to pick up Xueer now, after all, it's too big. You're really good. Lan Mukin gently caressed Xueer's body, with a soft and cold touch that was no worse than caressing a girl. Although he has never touched a girl since his mother was single, he seems to be only 15 years old, so when it comes to dating, it's considered early romance. Approaching the start of school on September 1st, Pang Lai made a special trip and told Lan Mukin to go to the affiliated magic high school of the Imperial Academy to study. Unconsciously, the awakening magic has been around for more than half a year. Pang Lai said, "It is difficult to cultivate things through hard work at home. You should go to a wider world to meet your peers." Lan Mukin naturally agreed, which was good for him. He has long had the idea of going to a magic school. The teacher's father can teach him a lot of things, and many profound magic principles cannot be learned in school. But Pang Lai is very busy, and as someone in a high position, he can't teach Lan Mukin basic magic knowledge in a general way. Underutilizing talent is a waste of time. A lot of knowledge about magic and demons had to be learned, and Lan Mukin had to go to school alone as it was difficult and tedious to learn at home. Pang Lai's idea was for Lan Mukin to start his first year of high school and complete 3 years of high school. However, Lan Mukin stated that his magic release skills were already quite proficient, and it was pointless to go to high school and learn how to control stars with those newly awakened students. He wants to go directly to the second year of high school. Pang Lai remained silent for a moment and nodded in agreement. "I know that both Xiao Mukin and you can unleash magic. My teacher's suggestion is that you only show one type of magic. You're still young, so there's no need to be too dazzling, which is good for you." Pang Lai stroked his grey beard and said. Lan Mukin readily agreed, stating that he only uses the ice type for school and will not disclose the summoning type. Pang Lai smiled contentedly, and the disciple was very sensible. "Come and take a look at your little snowball." As a teacher, Pang Lai observed the basketball-sized snowball with great interest. He had known this kind of demon long before he took in Lan Mukin, but it was still Lan Mukin who allowed him to observe the ice-capped snow woman in her infancy for such a long time and up close. 8 years ago, it was the ice and snow maiden who caught Pang Lai's attention, which led to the discovery of Lan Mukin by the chief of the palace museum. Although growing slowly, he has always been developing healthily. Judging by his size, he should be approaching the bottleneck of transitioning from infancy to childhood. By then, he should be promoted to the rank of war general. Pang Lai gently brushed his fingers over the hidden ice lines on Xueer's body and explained to the disciple. Ice Sky Snow Girl is an elemental holy spirit from the summoning plane of the Ice Kingdom. Even those with lower bloodlines have the power of an ordinary monarch when fully matured. And for those with high bloodline, a great monarch is not a problem at all. For summoning mages, it is a summoning beast that can be encountered but not sought after. The Ice and Snow Girl is arrogant and aloof, and rarely works for human mages. There is no special method, and even ordinary summoning mages cannot summon them. As the strongest summoner in our country, Pang Lai is highly skilled in summoning and has previously summoned the Ice and Snow Maiden to fight together. The absolute control over ice elements and the powerful use of ice and snow are unmatched by many ice mages. Whether it is the local magic plane or the summoning plane, there are elemental spirits from various elemental systems. The elemental Holy Spirit is the darling of heaven and earth. Heaven has bestowed upon us the power of elements, but it has also strictly restricted us. They have extremely strong control over elements and are very rare, with extremely complex and demanding birth conditions. It is basically impossible to grow normally in the land of demons without strong protection. No matter what kind of demon they are, they all covet the elemental Holy Spirit. Even demons who do not control any elemental power can have strong elemental control after devouring and absorbing them. The elemental Holy Spirit can be roughly divided into 5 stages of growth. Infancy, growth, maturity, and complete body. However, the birth of most elemental holy spirits is accompanied by the baptism of elemental holy sites, so they are born as war generals, with a short infancy and soon entering infancy. The original work, Xiyanji, had a period of infancy. Of course, these were all told to Lan Muken by the Grand Master Pang Lai. The information of the elemental Holy Spirit is not known to everyone. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The First Magic High School in the Imperial Capital. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The First Magic High School in the Imperial Capital. Time passed quickly. On the day of the start of school on September 1st, early in the morning, Lan Muken picked up his small backpack and went alone to the First Magic High School in the Imperial City. Pang Lai is very busy and doesn't have time to see off his apprentices. Moreover, his home is only 2 blocks away from the school, and it takes less than 15 minutes to walk there. In the scorching summer, the city is bustling, and the roads are bustling with traffic. It is also the start of school day, and the already busy wide roads are slightly congested. The young man walking under the roadside green forest looked at the long vehicles blocking his eyes, and his steps were a bit faster. At the entrance of the school, people were coming and going, and looking up was a luxurious plaque with the words, "The First Magic High School in the Imperial Capital," written on it. The First Magic High School of the Imperial Capital, also known as the Affiliated High School of the Imperial Capital School, gathers the vast majority of young talents in the Imperial Capital. Those who can enter it are either descendants of aristocratic families or geniuses cultivated by powerful forces. It is quite difficult for ordinary people to pass the magic exam here. High school magic students who can graduate normally from here can basically enter various universities in China. Major aristocratic families and magical powers also welcome these young talents. Lan Muken received a recommendation letter from the Palace Magical Association and smoothly entered the school, where he met the vice principal. The vice principal held a recommendation letter issued by the Palace Museum and carefully examined the young man with clear eyebrows and eyes. The special recommendation letter from the court allows you to enter number 1 middle school, but if you want to skip the first and second year of high school, it may be a bit troublesome, Principal Wang said, stroking his gray beard. Lan Muken's expression remained unchanged and he said, "I can accept the assessment." Vice Principal Wang thought for a moment and nodded, "Okay, let's see your performance." Students in the first, middle, and second years of high school can even form star orbits and release magic at the earliest. Students who practice hard and have good talent can already proficiently use magic. If you hire a student who can't even connect with a star, it would be disrespectful to the school. Wang Feng thought to himself like this. The recommendation letter states that Lan Muken can release ice magic, but the specific method still needs to be tested. Lan Muken accompanied Vice Principal Wang to the training ground of the school, and it must be said that the high school in the capital is indeed impressive. A magic training ground the size of a playground, still indoor with extra large air conditioning, can feel the ultimate freshness from the outside. The venue is quite spacious and divided into several parts. Wang Feng took Lan Muken to the place where beginners in magic practice playing dolls. You can skip the Stardust test. If you can release magic and successfully hit the doll, the school will allow you to jump to the second year of high school, Principal Wang said slowly. Lan Muken nodded, his pitch-black eyes dyed with a deep ice blue, and the cold air was piercing. 7 high cold stars connected in his hands. Elemental ice, listen to my call, wake up. As the book says, shouting loudly like this can make beginners more focused and attract more ice elements around them, thereby accelerating the speed and power of magic release. Lan Muken couldn't shout out and could only silently recite in his heart. After all, the lines are too catchy, and I don't know who came up with them. Ice vine. Freeze. Ice crystals were scattered in the palm of his hand. In an instant, the frost spread all the way from Lan Muken's feet to the doll, and after reaching the doll, the expansion speed of the ice was faster. Crunching. Crunching. Accompanied by the sound of freezing, a perfect frozen doll formed. Lan Muken clenched his right hand tightly, clack 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 clack, the frozen doll shattered into pieces, and the hard ice fell to the ground, shattering even more thoroughly. After a few seconds, only a few fragments of ice remained on the ground. Witnessing Lan Mukin's ice vine with his own eyes, Wang Feng smiled and nodded in satisfaction. Undoubtedly recommended by the Palace Museum, the release of magic is no worse than the geniuses in the final exams of the first year of high school. Lan Mukin, right? Yes. Let's go, I'll arrange your transfer and accommodation. Vice Principal Wang led Lan Mukin out of the spacious training ground. Lan Mukin followed behind Wang Feng, curious about visiting the school. He had not received 9 years of compulsory magic education and was very eager for school life. After being busy for a while, Vice Principal Wang Feng asked Mr. Lan to have lunch first and come back to the office to find him in an hour. Although it may be the first day of school, the cafeteria of Emperor First High School is still as busy as usual, with everything available. As an affiliated high school of the Imperial University, the number of students is definitely much smaller than that of a regular magic high school, but its land area is larger than that of a regular magic university. Just from this cafeteria, which is comparable to a training ground, you can see. After all, it is a place where the young masters and ladies of the imperial capital learn magic, and the vastness and prosperity are normal. After enjoying the delicious food, Lan Mukin wandered around the campus to gain a general understanding of the school structure and appreciate the beautiful long legs of her senior students in the summer. I dress cooler and don't look white. Lan Mukin, who has been staying at home and rarely goes out, hardly sees any beautiful women. In recent years, he has had the most contact with them, except for Xueer, who is also his teacher and father, Pang Lai. Lan Mukin is beautiful and handsome, looking a bit cold. After wandering around for a while, there are quite a few girls who have asked him to add their trust. He must have politely declined even when he saw the girl and didn't dare to speak. Quietly, Mimi glanced at her white legs. Lan Mukin could do it, but if he wanted to chat and make friends, he wished he could find a way to sneak in. Is this the strength of a single mother and rare girl? Of course, it could also be that you haven't met a girl who is happy looking at the time. Lan Mukin arrived at Vice Principal Wang Feng's office. Wang Feng was savoring a cup of tea when he was startled by Lan Mukin, who suddenly walked in. Stinky kid, hasn't your teacher taught you to knock on the door before entering the office? Wang Feng put down his teacup and couldn't help but gasp. Lan Mukin was quite honest and said, I haven't attended school before, and I came straight in when I saw the door open. The vice principal coughed and waved his hand, saying, it's just that. Nowadays, students walk silently. This will scare the elderly. Principal Wang, I will pay attention next time. Lan Mukin awkwardly smiled. The smile was quite ugly, it's better not to laugh. Wang Feng came to Lan Mukin and said, Lan, the class has already arranged it for you, and I have informed you in advance. You can go directly. Lan Mukin nodded blankly. Grade 2, Class 5. It's on the second floor of the adjacent teaching building. Go ahead, class is coming up soon, don't be late for the first class. Yes, thank you Principal Wang. Lan Mukin thanked him and walked out of the office. As soon as Lan Mukin walked out of the office building, the crisp class bell rang. After much thought, he realized that he was a transfer student and was already late, not short of a few minutes. Then, Lan Mukin slowly arrived at the door of Class 5 in his sophomore year. The classroom door was open, and the teacher and classmates seemed to be waiting for something. As soon as Lan Mukin appeared at the door, everyone's gaze fell on him. 20 or 30 pairs of eyes fell on our Lan Mukin, social anxiety, who almost scared him and ran away. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Growth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Growth. As Lan Mukin was stunned, the teacher had already walked up from the podium to him. Yang Lihua walked into the classroom holding the boy's arm and climbed onto the podium. This is a transfer student from our Class 5, whose name is. Let me introduce myself to my classmate in person, said Teacher Yang as he stepped down from the podium and gave his seat to Lan Mukin. So everyone's gaze was focused on Lan Mukin, and our little social anxiety cheeks were flushed with anger. Damn it, why did this teacher pull me up directly? What should I do? Lan Mukin lowered his head in contemplation, then looked up at his classmates in the future, and finally spoke up, my name is Lan Mukin. I am a student of the ice department, and I hope you can give me more guidance in the future. Yang Lihua suddenly patted him and said, Lan Mukin, please sit in the empty seat over there first. Lan Mukin followed the teacher's hand, and in the middle of the second to last row, he nodded at the teacher and walked straight. The classroom is quite large, consisting of 6 rows and 5 columns, with 30 seats not fully occupied, and only 28 people, including Lan Mukin. I don't think there are 300 people in 10 classes combined. By this calculation, the entire high school may not have 1,000 students. In fact, there are many students in their first year of high school, close to 1,000, which is more than the total number of students in their second and third years. However, the requirements for the final exams in the first year of high school are very high, and students who fail to meet the standards will be discouraged. With just one assessment, more than half of them can pass. Lan Mukin was a little late and the teacher didn't say much. After knocking on the blackboard, he started today's class. The teacher's lecture was indeed very detailed, much more so than when Lan Mukin was reading directly at home. Can you understand if you haven't received 9 years of compulsory magic education? Joke, Lan Mukin has been learning magic knowledge at home for so many years, how could he not understand it? The teacher is just understanding it deeper and better. Then, Lan raised his right hand high and asked the teacher a question he didn't understand. Woo-woo, there's really something I can't understand. Yang Lihua gestured for him to let go and explained the principle in a responsible manner. Anyway, it didn't take much time and other classmates could remember it again. After 2 semesters, Lan Mukin finally understood why his peers hated going to school. I manage too tightly and have no freedom at all. The study and cultivation time are arranged every day, and not following them is considered skipping classes. At home, Lan Mukin doesn't want to learn knowledge, and when he doesn't want to practice, he can still play games and sleep in. At school, he must complete the tasks assigned by the teacher every day. And every day's studies are very boring. Lan Mukin likes to read those strange books, but the school teaches the most orthodox knowledge of magic. Lan Mukin, who has never attended school before, can't stand being criticized for sleeping in class and confiscating his phone while playing quietly. If there is any course that Lan Mukin likes, it may only be magic practical classes. It's really exciting to either throw magic at each other with classmates in the class, or fight against the dimensional beasts summoned by the teacher. A group of people fighting around a demon is really exciting. Although they are often beaten away, it does not prevent them from becoming braver and more frustrated. After all, they all know that the dimensional beasts of the teacher cannot lay assassins. However, injuries are inevitable. Lan Mukin was once captured by a wolf beast at the level of a war general. Even if there were healing mages to heal his injuries, he stayed at home for a few days. This makes Lan Mukin no longer dare to underestimate demons. Even dimensional beasts controlled by humans can be deadly when they become fierce. Can ferocious monsters in the wild be easily provoked? After nearly a year of seclusion in school, the achievements of cultivation are also quite fruitful. The ice system successfully broke through a few days ago, and the stars underwent a transformation to reach level 3. Summoning Stardust, level 2, there is still a long way to go from level 3. The allocation of cultivation time for Lan Mukin is not biased, always split in half, but the ice type still leads the summoning type. The azure ice feather hanging around his neck is strange. It seems that it can accelerate his cultivation speed of the ice type, and the effect does not conflict with the star dust magic tool given by Pang Lai, which makes the blue Muchen ice type star dust grow faster than the summoning type. He also had Master Pang Lai specifically study this magical bird feather, which can indeed accelerate cultivation, but it is only effective on ice-type stardust. Pang Lai's conclusion is that the important feathers of a powerful ice bird and beast from ancient times may also be legendary totemic vessels. If it's really a totem vessel, then everything makes sense. Specifically, Pang Lai is not an expert in this area and doesn't know much about it. At least this feather is beneficial and harmless to Lan Muken. Summoning only has a second level, but Xueer's growth has not declined. The once round and soft snowball no longer exists, replaced by a flawless ice-white porcelain doll. The transformed Xueer she has deep, ice-blue eyes like a pond, and small lips that are icy white and devoid of blood. Wearing a blue and white ice crystal snow river long skirt, her most perfect dress is composed of deep blue ice silk satin and pure white snow silk satin. The snowy hair that reached straight to her heel was like her dress, perfectly illustrating the interplay of ice and snow. Xueer's fair and tender skin was even more delicate than those of the little girls, flawless and crystal clear, as if a strong thrust would tear it off. What remains unchanged is that she can still act coquettishly and roll in Lan Muken's embrace. There is anime on TV, and Lan Muken lazily leans against the sofa, holding a snow doll that looks like a baby in her arms. The magnificent and noble ice and snow long dress dragged onto Lan Muken's arm, creating a strong contrast with his clothes. Xueer's ice skirt is smoother and more beautiful than the best silk in the world, without any flaws. It's not an exaggeration to say it's a fairy dress. And Lan Muken's short sleeves can't be said to be unattractive, it's just that he snatched this shirt for 9.9 yuan on a knife fight. Lan Muken is not someone who loves spending money, so his clothes are not very good. Xueer's plump and cold porcelain white hands lay on her master's arm, not to mention how beautiful they looked. When she sees the highlights of the anime, she still babbles and jumps around on Lan Muken. Give Lan Muken a feeling of taking care of her daughter. The current Xueer is only half a step away from entering the level of a warrior, a powerful snow demon. Ice's ability to use it hits his master. When Xueer had just transformed into a human, Lan Muken had already engaged in a confrontation with her, but within a few seconds, her master turned into a big ice cube. The anime played on TV ended, and Lan Muken picked up the petite Xueer with both hands, staring intently at her deep blue big eyes. It's so much like the ice and snow woman from that night's dream a year and a half ago. Before the personification, it was just an eye image. Now even the skin, lips, hair color and the dress are identical. Perhaps that stunning ice and snow woman is really Xueer. Babbling. The flawless Xueer murmured softly in the warm embrace of her master, her beautiful melodious cry resembling that of a baby. What else do you want to watch? But I've finished watching several seasons of the anime, Quan Fa. Let's wait until the next season updates in a few days before watching. Lan Muken gently comforted the unhappy little one. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Junior Brother Jiang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Junior Brother Jiang. After Pang Lai returned home, Lan Muken had a friendly interaction with him. Finally, the teacher and father agreed to the disciples' dropout plan. How proactive I was when I went, how thorough I am now. It's great to be young. Master, I heard that the Imperial Academy is the best institution here, and I want to study there, said Lan Muken with great anticipation. You're still too young, Pang Lai poured a basin of cold water on him. Normally, people who are admitted to universities are around 18 years old, while Lan Muken is only 16 years old this year. Imperial University, the best magic university in China, is undoubtedly the number one. Even the Pearl University, which is also one of the top universities in China, is inferior to it. Those who can enter there are all rare geniuses in the country. It's not difficult for Lan Muken to be admitted by special admission at the age of 18, but he's only 16 years old, and he's only in his first and second year of high school. It's as difficult as heaven to squeeze into the Imperial Academy. Pang Lai thought for a moment and said, Xiao Muken, if you take the Imperial Academy entrance exam with the summoning department, with Xueer's strength, it's not a problem at all, but with the ice department, you're almost there. He had already seen through his disciples' cultivation. He had just entered the 3rd level of the ice series and had no problem going to other schools, but the Imperial Academy was really not good. Master, as you said, I'm still young, only 16 years old, said Lan Mukin. Entering a university at a young age is an advantage rather than a disadvantage. A school is a place to cultivate fresh blood, and the concept of 16 and 18 years old is completely different for mages with the same cultivation level. Pang Lai pondered for a moment, and this kid was right. With a beginner's level 3 cultivation, it is indeed easier to enter at a young age. The Imperial Academy recruits many young mages every year. Okay, I'll write you a recommendation letter in a few days. Day by day, I'll trouble my master. Pang Lai said helplessly, but the emotion on his face betrayed him. He was very pleased that his disciple had grown up. A year ago, he wrote a recommendation letter for Lan Mukin to enter the first magic high school in the Imperial capital. Now that his disciple wants to enter the Imperial capital school, what if he opens another letter? One's own disciple should always be favored by oneself. Moreover, Xiao Mukin's personal talent and strength are not inferior. Thank you, Master. By the way, Xiao Mukin, a few days ago, I received a disciple named Jiang Yu as my teacher. I will introduce him to you in a few days. You, who are a senior brother, should take more care of your junior brother, Pang Lai said. Lan Mukin nodded, looking forward to what his junior brother looked like. After chatting with his disciple, Pang Lai couldn't help but shift his gaze to the icy snow woman in his arms. Transformed from a snowball to a true snow woman, still stuck at the servant level, but with combat power approaching that of a general, it seems that she is about to enter her childhood. It is also possible that the cultivation level of the master summoning system blocked her and did not promote her to a general. The cultivation of a typical dimensional summoning beast is not related to its owner, but considering the special relationship between Lan Mukin and Xueer, it is highly likely that the cultivation of the master summoning type Stardust level 2 will block Xueer. After instructing Lan Mukin again to pay attention to the improvement of summoning cultivation, Pang Lai hurriedly left, perhaps there was something urgent. After finishing his meal, Lan Mukin rolled back to his bedroom and began practicing the summoning system. The master spoke up, it's a bit unreasonable not to catch up with the summoning cultivation. Pang Lai is famous for his summoning skills, and it's not good if his disciples' summoning skills are not up to par. Lan Mukin doesn't want to embarrass his master. When the master went to practice, Xueer naturally went back to her own home to sleep. Pang Lai said that in a few days, he would return home the next morning with a young man wearing eyes. The young man looked knowledgeable and pure, and at a glance, he knew he was a good student. In his arms, he still held a black cat with gorgeous and noble fur. Lan Mukin was looking at the young man in his eyes, and Jiang Yu was also observing this senior brother. Due to the black cat in Jiang Yu's arms, Lan Mukin's gaze involuntarily shifted upwards towards the cat. Her petite body and lower body seemed to be different from an ordinary cat. Although the whole body is dark black, the beard is actually white. Those squinted eyes were enchanting and sharp, with a dark light shining with nobility. At first glance, this cat is not an ordinary breed, and the laziness and arrogance of an ordinary cat are completely different from it. No ordinary cat is as noble as it is 1/10. Jiang Yu's first impression of this senior brother was that he was a bit cold. A high coldness in temperament. Also, it has a beautiful appearance. Pang Lai stroked his beard and introduced, Xiao Mukin, this is the new disciple Jiang Yu that I mentioned yesterday. Xiao Yu, this is your senior brother, named Lan Mukin. As a senior brother, Lan Mukin naturally had to take the initiative and step forward, saying, hello, junior brother Jiang, I am Lan Mukin. Jiang Yu reached out and nervously grasped his senior brother's hand, saying, hello, senior brother Lan. My name is Jiang Yu, please give me more guidance in the future. This is my pet, called Fei Fei, Jiang Yu added. However, When Jiang Yu mentioned pets, the black cat seemed unhappy. Then the two senior brothers shook hands with a smile and said nothing more. Don't be fooled by Lan Mukin's calm demeanor, in fact, he is much more nervous than Jiang Yu in his heart. Our Mukin is a small social anxiety. At this moment, Pang Lai, as a master, said, don't be fooled by Xiao Mukin being a senior brother. He's only 16 years old this year, but as a junior brother, Xiao Yu is already 17 years old. You two are peers. Let's talk. Today, I will show you my cooking skills as a teacher. Even Xiao Mukin and I have not tasted the dishes I make for so many years. Pang Lai said as he walked towards the kitchen. Lan Mukin hurriedly said, Master, you are an elder. How can you make you cook? I, as an apprentice and senior brother, should come and cook for you. Jiang Yu also said, Master, when you're old, take a good rest. Brother Lan and I will cook for you. The two of them walked towards the kitchen together without giving their master a chance to refute. Jiang Yu entered the kitchen, while the cat named Fei Fei jumped out of its owner's embrace and lay on its own in a place to rest. Pang Lai did not dampen the enthusiasm of the senior brothers and looked at their backs with a pleased smile. It's great to have an apprentice. However, when he arrived at the kitchen, Jiang Yuming circled and he couldn't cook at all. Lan Mukin looked at his busy junior brother and immediately saw his difficulties, saying, Junior brother Jiang doesn't know how to cook, right? Jiang Yu felt embarrassed and said, Senior brother Lan, It's okay, I'll teach you. Lan Mukin took out the generosity and confidence that his senior brother should have. Jiang Yu pushed his eyes and nodded repeatedly. Pang Lai's spiritual power was incredibly powerful, and the words of his two disciples couldn't escape his ears. Lan Mukin has an introverted personality that leans towards social anxiety, appearing cold but actually having a warm and kind heart. Jiang Yu is quite shy and a friendly and good child. It's impossible for these two people to argue together. The disciples started cooking, and Pang Lai regained his spiritual power. He couldn't let the disciples have no privacy, and as a master, he couldn't eavesdrop on everything. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Mu Chen's Battle with Rock Beasts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Mu Chen's Battle with Rock Beasts. Junior brother Jiang doesn't know how to cook, so the next project will naturally be completed by Lan Mukin alone. Jiang Yu can't help, so he can only hand over something. The key is that sometimes Jiang Yu can't even recognize things, which makes it difficult for Lan Mukin to do. Lan Mukin and Jiang Yu have also made many connections, and both sides have indicated their magic skills. Jiang Yu is a summoning mage, and now summoning Stardust has reached the 3rd level. He is preparing to sprint to the middle level before the new year. Compared to elemental cultivation, summoning cultivation is slower, and being able to cultivate it to the 3rd level at the age of 17 is a rare genius. His dimensional summoning beast is a slave-level rock demon in the advanced stage. Lan Mukin did not hide his summoning system and can become the apprentice of the first summoning mage in the country. Can anyone believe that without a summoning system? Summoning level 2, ice level 3, Jiang Yu called out to Lan Mukin as a demon. When someone else is 16 years old and proud of being able to release magic faster than others, the little senior brother is already at level 3. I can only say that I am truly a disciple of my master. As the food was served to the table, Pang Lai's smile became increasingly satisfied, and the two disciples got along very well, and the food was also delicious. The master and disciple finished their leisure breakfast while eating and chatting. Within a few minutes of sitting, old Pang Lai was called away by a phone call. Being in a high position, he would be very busy even during holidays. There are only Blue Mukin and Jiang Yu left in the room, and there is also a cat that is not very close to people. Lan Mukin took the initiative to greet the cat named Fei Fei, but it didn't even lift its noble eyes to look at Lan Mukin. After eating at the concubine's place, Jiang Yu apologized and explained to his senior brother Lan, my cat is quite arrogant. Don't be narrow-minded. Lan Mukin said it's okay, it's just a cat. If you don't pay attention, it's not an important matter. Jiang Yu volunteered to wash the dishes, but I didn't help with cooking. Just leave the small task of washing the dishes to me. Lan Mukin is not foolish, he wouldn't even go and grab the dishes. Jiang Yu rushed to wash dishes to get familiar with and adapt to this home. In the future, I will be my senior brothers. If I don't look up or down, I will always make friends. Junior brother washes dishes, while Lan Mukin has nothing to do and goes out for a walk. As the saying goes, after a meal, one can walk and live to 999. Returning home, Jiang Yu was playing with his cat while Lan Mukin was bored and preparing to return to his room for cultivation. Just as I was passing by junior brother Jiang, I suddenly came up with a good idea. Coincidentally, Jiang Yu has nothing to do either. Lan Mukin smiled and said to Jiang Yu, "Junior brother Jiang, you don't have anything to be busy with, do you?" Jiang Yu shook his head and said, "No, what's up, senior brother?" Lan Mukin. "Are you interested in sparring?" "That's not good, right?" The Magic Association has regulations that both parties in a magical duel must be at least 18 years old, and we're not even 18 years old yet. Jiang Yu waved his hand. "We don't have to compete in a magical duel. Our martial brothers are just sparring, and no one knows. We're just bored and playing two spells together," Lan Mukin said slowly. Jiang Yu thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. "Instead of idle cultivation at home, it's better to practice with my senior brother. There is a large open space in the backyard of the house, where Lan Mukin has practiced magic before." "Senior brother, what is your summoning beast?" Jiang Yu asked curiously. "Well, senior brother's summoning beast is not very good, so don't bring it out to make a fool of yourself," Lan Mukin thought for a moment and said. "If you directly say that your summoning beast is the Ice Sky Snow Girl, it may hurt junior brother Jiang's heart. Why is it that the summoning beast I have painstakingly cultivated is not as good as my senior brother's, even though I am 1 year older than him and only focus on summoning?" As soon as Lan Mukin thought about how the shy and upright Jiang junior brother would behave, he felt embarrassed. Lan Mukin and Jiang Yu face each other more than 30 meters apart. Space ripples spread around Jiang Yu, and a dimensional crack opened up. A huge rock beast, like a giant stone, emerged from the dimension. The hard, earthy brown stone armor covered the entire body of the rock beast, and the thick limbs of the tree trunk trampled on the soil, leaving deep marks. Its massive body of 4 or 5 meters moved, feeling the ground trembling. A rock beast with extremely high bloodline can enter the level of commander when it reaches adulthood, Lan Mukin murmured as he looked at the imposing rock beast. At least he is the disciple of Pang Lai, the first summoner in China, and Lan Mukin's understanding of summoning beasts is better than those high school students. "Senior brother, be careful," Jiang Yu reminded, while commanding the rock beasts to launch an attack on Lan Mukin. The speed of the rock beast is not fast, and its massive body makes its speed far inferior to other demons. This happened to give Lan Mukin the time to connect the star's orbit. Ice blue occupied Lan Mukin's pupils, and cold air overflowed from him. The icy breath froze the soil beneath his feet, and the blue frost slowly spread towards the surroundings. Jiang Yu across from him also felt the chill. But in his position, the cool breeze is already very light. Ice vine cover. Due to the slow speed of the rock beast, Lan Mukin chose his strongest magic. Large areas of frost appeared at the feet of the rock beast and spread rapidly towards its legs. The rock beast is covered in stone armor, so naturally it is not afraid of frost, but the frost undoubtedly greatly slows down its speed. It is already slow in action, as slow as a turtle. And those frosts are eroding its rock armor, slowly penetrating through it and entering flesh and blood. Lan Mukin is still increasing the power of Iceman, intending to let the ice-lock rock beast move and slowly allow the frost power to penetrate the rock beast's body, thereby rendering it incapable of combat. Without the command of Jiang Yu, even the rock beasts know how to remove these frost. It is a demon in the advanced stage, how could it be trapped by this ice? Ting ting, tang. The rock beast raised its head and snorted towards Lan Mukin through its nostrils. Then the four limbs fiercely stomped on the ground, and the ice and frost on the ground were as fragile as paper. Under the reckless trampling of the rock beast's iron hooves, it instantly collapsed, and fragmented ice fragments, as well as soil and stone fragments, flew everywhere. The violent vibration on the ground interrupted Lan Mukin's magic and almost caused him to fall, even though he had not stood firm. Seeing the rock beast charging towards him mercilessly, Lan Mukin panicked and threw a level 1 ice vine at the rock beast. The frost only covered a small piece of skin on the rocky back of the rock beast, and then stopped spreading. The third level ice vine cannot freeze the rock beast, and this level ice vine is like throwing a large snowball like it. Lan Mukin saw that it was not working, so he turned his head and ran away, while also not forgetting to pinch the magic. The sky does not follow people's wishes, and in a hurry, the orbit of Lan Mukin's star is broken, and the ice vine on her lips does not shout out. Lan Mukin does not believe in evil and continues to connect the star orbit while running. Just turned around, oh my god. The rock beast was within reach, and Ice Man shouted out loudly. The power of ice reached his arm, and Lan Mukin didn't even think about it before hitting the rock beast's skull. The giant stone foot of the rock beast lightly touched Lan Mukin, causing his body to uncontrollably fall forward. Lan Mukin lay on the ground, propped up with his arms, and the rock beast stopped in front of him. Jiang Yu walked step by step behind him. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Imperial Capital School, Director by Xu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Imperial Capital School, Director by Xu, Junior Brother Jiang, U1. Lan Mukin generously admitted the fact of losing, using only the Ice series. He was not Jiang Yu's opponent. This powerful rock beast, even a team of beginner mages dare not say they can definitely win. Lan Mukin is still far behind. This is the advantage of summoning mages. When others only have 3 spells at the beginner level, they can already defeat a team of beginner mages. Of course, this is only limited to summoning creatures that are not waste. The physical strength of demons is far beyond that of humans, and servant-level demons usually require 7 beginner-level mages to kill them. Senior brother, summoning is useless, and Jiang Yu dare not say he will win. Jiang Yu said, opening the dimensional crack and letting the rock beast go back to rest. In the end, this brief sparring ended with Jiang Yu winning. The senior brothers returned to the room and sat together to chat. Lan Mukin wanted to touch the concubine, but the black cat ran away without a trace, surprisingly fast. 2 newly acquainted boys, both of whom are quiet and boring, can only go back to their respective rooms to practice. Their age is the most suitable time for cultivation. Holidays are always fast, even for Lan Mukin, it's not a holiday. In short, the day for the Imperial Academy to recruit students has arrived, and Lan Mukin should go to the school. Of course, going to school is the only way to pass, and if not, you can only go home and focus on cultivation. Junior brother Jiang Yu also went, and at least they had some care together. The 2 of them naturally held a recommendation letter issued by the Palace Museum. Although they cannot directly become students of the Imperial Academy, it can greatly increase the probability. Maybe I was almost selected, but this recommendation letter can just make up for that. It's great to have a good master. The gate of the Imperial Academy is grand and majestic, exuding an ancient and solemn atmosphere. This gate alone is not comparable to ordinary universities. Perhaps there is an ancient and mysterious magic circle hidden inside this gate. After entering the gate and walking for a distance, the 2 of them separated. One person reported to the Ice Academy and the other reported to the summoning department. Lan Mukin did not choose to expose the summoning system. Compared to the summoning system, he longed to learn the ice system. It is sufficient to have Pang Lai teach the summoning system alone. In fact, there are too few members of the summoning department and he doesn't want to go. It's quite funny that the large summoning department can't even fit in one class at a time. In fact, it's not just about summoning, but also about black magic, white magic, and dimensional magic outside the Elemental Magic Academy. Among them, the shadow type in the dark arts is fine, while the undead type, which belongs to the same dark arts category, is fortunate to be able to recruit one per year. After all, it's too difficult to awaken magic beyond the elements at the beginning. Lon Mukin, 16 years old, is a third-level beginner in the ice department and can proficiently use ice vine magic in various situations. Bai Shu, the head of the Ice Academy, looked at the young man in front of him while reading Lon Mukin's information in the recommendation letter. Her beautiful eyes furrowed and she couldn't believe it, saying, "You're only 16 years old and you're already in the third level." At the age of 18, being a beginner at level 3 is considered a genius. Isn't it too exaggerated for you to be at level 3 at the age of 16? Seeing this beautiful head of the department feeling a bit uncomfortable, Lon Mukin said, "Teacher, there is a certificate from the Imperial Court on it. I practiced through formal means." Bai Shubai glanced at him and I saw that the Palace Museum was so spicy that she couldn't possibly see it. This chapter is too conspicuous, afraid that others won't see it. Is it the son or grandson of a high-ranking official in the Palace Museum? Even if there is a recommendation from the Palace Association, there must be an assessment, and the Imperial Academy does not accept waste. Bai Shu slapped the recommendation letter on the table and said with righteousness, "Yes, yes." At first glance, this beautiful woman was not easy to provoke, and Lon Mukin nodded repeatedly. Bai Shu seemed to see something and said, "Don't worry, I won't make it difficult for you. If you can really release level 3 magic, our Ice Academy will definitely accept you. The Stardust test is waived, I'll take you directly to release magic." Bai Shu and Lon Mukin arrived at the magic release venue next door, found a chair to sit down, and watched the young boys' performance with their long legs crossed in white. Iceman coverage. Lon Mukin didn't say much and stood at the center of the venue, directly connecting the star track. The stars are still connected, and the ground has been covered with a layer of frost. The temperature inside the venue dropped sharply, and Lon Mukin opened his arms to welcome the arrival of ice and snow. Snowflakes danced in the sky, and the piercing cold swept through the venue like a blizzard. Frost is raging, and the ice on the ground has accumulated a thick layer. Lon Mukin slowed down the magic release speed appropriately to increase its power. It's just a demonstration release, not a fight against monsters. The more spectacular and enticing it is, the better. He, in the center of ice and snow, is like the master of ice, controlling the expansion of frost to a greater distance. A strand of ice crawled up to Bai Shu's feet and didn't move any further. It's not that Lon Mukin saw the teacher restrain, but that Bai Shu's cultivation and control were much higher than him, and those ice couldn't even enter Bai Shu's body. Lon Mukin's ice magic performance was like a child playing with snow in the eyes of Bai Shu, who was full of ice. Bai Shu stood up and walked towards Lon Mukin. The place she passed by was icy and frosty, with an extremely beautiful face and a satisfied smile on her face. Unlike other department heads, Bai Shu had only graduated from university for over a year, and the other directors and professors were either uncles, aunts, or grandparents. She looked like the gentle older sister next door, with superior looks and strength. Of course, it's not that the Imperial Academy doesn't have young teachers, it's just that there are very few who are as young as her. Gentleness seems to have been spoken a bit too early, clearly very cold. Very good, the magical power is stronger than that of someone who has just mastered level 3 magic, but the speed still needs to be improved. If you deal with demons, you probably won't be able to release the magic, and the demons will pounce. Bai Shu commented responsibly. Listen attentively to the teacher's teachings, Lon Mukin respectfully said, hoping that the beautiful director would take her into the Ice Academy as soon as possible. Bai Shu looked at him helplessly and said, "We have taken it from the Ice Academy. At this age, you must not be arrogant or complacent at such a high level. There is no room for relaxation or neglect along the way of magic. I couldn't help but remind Bai Shu again. Yes, Lan Mukin naturally knew that the teacher was doing it for his own good and nodded repeatedly. Whether to accept Lan Mukin or not is definitely not something that Bai Shu can decide with just one word, but if he hands over the recommendation letter to the Dean of the Ice Academy and tells the truth about Lan Mukin, the Dean will naturally not refuse such a genius. The Imperial Academy will not let go of a genius mage. After informing Lan Mukin of some relevant matters, Bai Shu asked him to go home and wait for the admission notice from the Imperial Academy. It will definitely be delivered to him 1 week before the start of school. Farewell to Director Bai Shu. Lan Mukin thought of waiting for Jiang Yu to come home with him, but thought that Jiang Yu's serious move would be slow and his stomach would growl with hunger, so he decided to go to the cafeteria for a meal first. Jiang Yu's special recruitment is different from Lan Mukin's special recruitment. Where have you ever seen a recruitment with only one teacher? Lan Mukin is a true, special move. End of this chapter.